Welcome back. Pottawattamie County is fed up with beavers, Lauren.
Yeah, the rodents are causing considerable damage and now have a bounty on their heads. 6 News' Johan Marin shows us how the new program works.
A month ago, parts of Hitchcock Nature Center were swamped with beavers, one of many areas in Pottawattamie County plagued by the renowned dam builders.
The problem just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Tim Wickman is a county supervisor. He says he and his team took a tour of the site. They noticed beavers did a significant amount of damage to roads, bridges, and drainage pipes. But Wickman says they've noticed several farmers were hurt the most.
When the beavers dam up a stream or a small river, the water backs up into the fields, they burrow into the fields, and then when a farmer crosses to pick his corn, the picker and the head of the picker goes into the dirt, damages the picker.
That is when they took action and created the Beaver Bounty program. It allows participants to harvest beavers for their pelts during trapping season to be paid $25 per beaver harvested in Pottawattamie County.
It's a way for Pottawattamie County to protect all of our assets in the county, whether it be a road, a culvert, bridge, farmer's field.
Wickman says trappers who participate must be eligible in the county. He's also hoping with the program the beaver problem will decrease.
So we try to eliminate the problem before it causes a major expense for repair.
Wickman says he wants those who are participating in the program to know that you are limited to turning in 20 beavers per week. On your side, Johan Marin, 6 News.
And the Beaver Bounty program will go on until April 15th. If you're interested in signing up, we do have more information on our website, WOWT.com.